Holy shit. But it has the energy of like that death metal blast beat kind of thing going on too. You just feel the intensity. Just steaming off the song. Welcome back to Low End University. Now, the band name Converge is one I've heard occasionally over the years and one I occasionally always saw on tour posters with other bands I do know on the more prog metal side of things. But they are not a band I ever took the time to check out. I just knew they were a heavier band based on the tours they were billed on. However, I have to say I love the band name. I love the word Converge. I find myself using it a lot to describe music. Hell, I'll probably use it in this video. Now, what piqued my interest here is that so many fans of punk rock keep asking for Converge here on the channel, and I'm reading that punk and hardcore punk are a huge part of their roots, especially maybe earlier in their careers. But today I'm hearing their song Dark Horse, which is from the band's 7th studio album, Axe to Fall, released in 2009, and apparently this album saw the band taking their music in a more progressive direction, with Kurt Ballou noting that the drummer Ben Kohler had been listening to more progressive rock over the last few years. And considering my very last video was analyzing Black Flag, this comment from Cosmo Lee of Pitchfork Media caught my eye, stating that Converge are quote-unquote this generation's Black Flag, and was comparing Axe to Fall against Black Flag's 1984 album My War. Anyway, off we go. Dark Horse, let's do it. Grindy. Up a 4. Ooh boy, we're getting heavy today, aren't we? What I like about this intro is that it almost presents the snare roll happening, the drum intro. I would call this kind of a drum and bass intro. Really cool way to set the stage, but at first it kind of sounds like just a straight, 16th roll. But you can tell the drummer, if you really listen, he's doing some accents that really give this unique syncopated dink, dunk, dink, dink, dunk. Just something like that. And the thing about the bass tone is you're not going to catch that articulation so clearly on a, from a bass tone like that, especially with everything else going on, which is a lot of drums, big, powerful sounding drums, high up in the mix. But 99% of the time, the bass player will follow that type of rhythm. So they're locked in there as the rhythm section doing the dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig, so those accents. So I imagine the bass player's doing it too. I believe we're here in a drop tuning. I'm going to say C because the first chord was C, went up to the 4 chord. Let me get going into it. Pretty brutal setup already, just intense. It's going to go somewhere crazy. And then the guitar came in with this really technical, almost kind of hammer-on, pull-off line, this something maybe like that. Let's hear it again. Yeah, see? Yeah, it almost just, if I took a pick and just like AC/DC thunderstruck it, it's kind of like a... It sounds something like that if I'm talking about just the mechanics of that. Could be anything. I know these guys are great players. Again, I've heard about the band, never got around to them. So this is great. This is right up my alley, instrumentally. Wow, the vocals are a little quieter than I expected. I like how the chord progression was established to be more square, more straightforward. We have the 1, we go up to the 4 chord, 1, we go up to the 3 chord. But you hear it starting to get dissonant when those gang vocals come in. And backing up to what I was saying a second ago, this mix, I'm not complaining, but it sounds a little lopsided. The bass is really loud and the vocals are kind of quiet. Not something you hear every day. Again, I'm not complaining, but I find it to be a really unique presentation of what the vocals provide in the song. Like, sure, it's the vocals, it's the lyrics, it's the, the main focal point typically, but it's mixed in a way that is almost courteous to everything else going on musically. So I kind of like that. It's, Tool does this commonly. Maynard can be mixed really quiet in the mix and just present as another layer, another instrument, if you will, and not like vocals plus instruments. They're all instruments. So I hear other bands who adapt that philosophy. I'm not sure if that was the intention here, but I don't know. It seems intentional. It's all I'm pointing out. And once the vocals thicken up with, multiple layers, the group chant thing, group singing thing, whatever, backup vocals, you can hear the chord progression get dissonant. We leave that kind of square. I hear some new chords introduced that really start to make it tense. Let's see. That. Holy shit. Got real heavy. Is the drummer blasting there? Well, this is a good question to raise because I got wind of this song being performed very recently, like a month or two ago, over on Audiotree. And I normally don't do this in videos, but I'm going to check out the song on Audiotree right after this just to kind of see things like, is he blasting there? Maybe what the bass player is doing. So this can help, and I usually don't gamble on those because sometimes the quality on the live thing can be questionable or, just not be conducive. But I've been on Audiotree myself, but I always know they put out top-notch stuff, just like KEXP does. So I'm going to check that out afterward. I'm kind of excited. I got that queued up, and one of our patrons let me know it existed, and it's actually very new. So let's keep rolling. We'll roll right into that. But dang, it's getting really brutal here. Right here. Woo. Not for long, though. Nice bridging it back in. 3, 4, 5, 1. Brings it back to where we've been, where your ear has already been. It's familiar. So these little tangents of brutality. That's actually a good band name, Tangent of Brutality. Someone take that and use it. Back to where we are. Guitars coming back in with something a bit more melodic and not so dissonant, because that section there was going down a half step. Kind of sounded like that diminished tonality. Now the guitars are back with this kind of thing. All right. Okay. It's kind of like the pre-chorus. Definitely know the drummer's doing double kick there. I'm just trying to hear the cymbals. Is it being blasted or is it just kind of washed out? But it has the energy of like that death metal blast beat kind of thing going on too. It's well done for their style. You just feel the intensity. Just steaming off the song. And as far as dialing in a tone here, it's not a tone I can really hear naked. Let me get a little bit further along, but I'll kind of talk about just maybe what I would do. Let me see if I can dial it in while it's going, though. Just something a bit more gritty in the ballpark. You can hear the bass has some mid-range character there, maybe in the low mid, so I might not scoop that as much. But these notes here, the E flat, F, and the G, they punch through. It's not like your boom, boom, boom kind of bass thing. It's got some fundamental pitch creeping in. A bit of the natural sound is retained, I feel. Ooh. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this tone, just for hearing it in the mix. Normally I don't get the fuzzy tones quick, but... And one thing, I believe the bassist is tuned down in C standard. So instead of taking a 4-string, tuning everything down 2 whole steps, which just throws your whole bass out of whack, the cheat code I like to use sometimes when I have a 5-string is just take this low B and tune it up to C. Then you get a really tight and even extra tight B string that's now C, and you can maybe get by. So kind of a fun way just to drop into that landscape for a second. Ooh. Okay, it sounds like I stopped right on a new section. Let me go back into that. Big slide off. Ooh, holy shit. Okay, there was some really nice musicality in that tense part. You hear it about to erupt like a volcano. The guitar's up there doing the... this kind of thing, just some ominous harmonies there. But what was going on under it I found to be... let me hear it again. Maybe I'm hearing things, but it sounded really a bit more colorful than you would think. This part, yeah. Yeah. It's actually a little melody baked in those guitar parts, but you wouldn't even really be looking for it. It's so... it's not like that's where your focus should be. It should be just feeling the build up, the dissonance. Just was a nice detour from where we've been tonally. That right there. That's a great build up. Straight beef now. Just straight grass-fed beef now. That's where we're at. Beefy bass tone. You can really hear it. This is a refreshing mix from a bass perspective. Normally in heavy music, man, bass is the first thing to just get shoved down on the side there. Even the low notes that are just chugging can really feel its presence. It's not just like, well, I think it's there. It's the case a lot of times with heavier mixes. So kudos to whoever mixed and mastered this. It's not always the case in this genre of music. Shit. Ooh. Clever thing to bring that intro kind of back in, but I like how it was almost reprised in terms of the drums. Because if you listen to how the song started, it was more a play on the snare only. Now it's like that same drum part with all the same wonky accents and inner beats is reprised, but more of a full set groove here on the toms especially. Very clever. On that 5, not even resolving it. So because it's unresolved, I definitely have to go to the next video now. Okay, now I can see what's going on here. Yeah, all the accents on the snare. Ooh. And as I speculated, bass player definitely has to be doing those accents because you don't see the hand just down there going. It's like just some subdivision there. Okay, definitely aligned there, but I like how the attack is really all from the snare. Okay. Sounds pretty damn similar mix-wise to what I just heard. Ooh. Vocals are louder now. Okay, you know the thing about P basses, they say P basses don't really work in metal. I've heard that comment a lot. A lot of people say you can only play slow on a P bass. It's a phrase just saying the P bass is a bit clunkier to get around. It really relies on its resonance, the way it sits in a mix and really fills everything out. It's like a teardrop as far as the EQ. A little bit of top end, but it's got a lot of bottom. And sometimes you want a more modern bass with active pickups so you can really find frequency-wise how to cut in, maybe lean into the mids more. That's why a lot of those old death metal records have those like mid-range, nasally, fretless basses. They really cut through that wall of sound. But on the flip side, I find interesting about a P bass in a mix like this is that sometimes when you play so fast on a P bass, and I'm being kind of figurative here, it's not literally like in a physics way, somehow different. It's just that the tone, the way it naturally sits, it's like if you play too fast, you almost get this evening out effect when you play really fast notes on a P bass. It almost like kind of compresses it for you and makes it run together so it's a bit more homogeneous. It's not so immediate. Immediate's the word I'm looking for. Like if you were to play some fast thing with them, like a Warwick thumb bass, for example, all those notes are going to be like tan, 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 tan. Maybe you want that, but for a mix like this, you can kind of get along with, you know, if I go to my neck pickup, you know, it's got that woofy bottom end. The high end is smoother, and it kind of is mix ready. It sounds good right out of the box. And he's plucking a little closer up. So it has that evening out effect that could be desirable. So just two perspectives on that. I've heard both. I see the benefits of both. Nonetheless, let's keep going. Guitar player's definitely doing that. Man, why do I keep turning my volume down? It's a habit. So, yeah, it looks intense when he plays it, too. Ooh, bass is doing vocals. Watching him play the guitar part, it looks more complicated than it sounds. Or is that what I'm trying to say? It's probably more complicated than it looks. Either way, he's back there locked in, very precise. But that guitar part is really contrasted with the more hardcore punk vocals. I find to be a really unique blend. Vocally, it's not my favorite style, but I like it a lot more than I used to. And I really like it when it thickens up with the bass player coming in on the chorus. But if you strip away that guitar part, it feels more like the hardcore punk I've come to know lately. But yeah, the orchestrations of the guitar parts take it into this whole other thing. So that being a blend of two worlds, one I'm more familiar with, maybe more technical, metalcore, mathcore, whatever. With the hardcore punk thing is certainly one of the most unique things in this heavier side of punk I've heard. So I'm digging what I'm hearing just on the fusing of those two. Yeah, man, he's the whole time. I didn't catch this in the studio version, but the guitars get nice and melodic here. It's almost like a quick turn on a dime to pull you out of that really brutal section vocally. All this. Vocals, I wouldn't say mellow out a bit more, but that's an intentional placement there to just contrast what you just heard. Yeah. Good effective thing there to do in a section like this. And I just intuitively speculated that there's a lot of that going on. When you're low open string, why not throw in the octave? Why play one note when you can play two? I can go just open C, and I can play the C on top. Play them together. You really get that kind of high fidelity spread of the octave. And the way that you're kind of strumming two strings on the same note gives it a bit of a flam effect. Blah, 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 blah. So it thickens up. It's not so like, it's more like, it's the same concept as like a 12-string guitar, right? You're plucking two strings at the same time and it gives that glistening sound. Now, nothing about this is glistening, but I think just it adds a little mojo and thickens up the bass note. So you can kind of see him fretting on the 12th fret on the A string. If I'm thinking about this right, how would they be tuned? Or maybe that's, if he's in C standard, so maybe that would be G. Maybe he's doing a fifth interval, so it'd be akin to kind of going like this kind of sound. Same type of thing, right? Versus add in the fifth. Makes it even more crunchy. But I'm talking about the fretted note here. If that's like C, G, C, F, so it'd be drop C. D standard, but drop C. Very well could be doing that. Either way, he's playing two strings. That's the point of getting at. No, show the bass player. Damn. One regret there, camera angle wise, not to show the bass player. There's some like little line. I heard it in the studio version. It's a bit more prominent now, but you hear that kind of walk up. That's what I was zeroing in on the last video. Like, what's going on under there? It's kind of colorful, but I can hear it a bit better. Some line like that. Almost sounds like that. Yeah, I think it's all chromatic there. Or whatever it is, it's beefy and gnarly. Bum, bum, bum. Screams sound great. Man, hats off to the drummer. Holy shit. Whew. Well, if you haven't gotten the memo, I love doing heavy stuff on the channel. I don't do enough of it these days. Funnily enough, early on, about 3 years ago when I was starting this series, I was doing a lot of death metal and extreme metal. So I love looking at it now through a different lens for me, hardcore punk. And my takeaway just from this one Converge song I've heard is that I can definitely see how instrumentally they're leaning into that more technical metalcore. I don't know if progressive metal is the right word. Genres suck, and who cares about them? It's just a way for me to kind of categorize everything in my mind. But let's just say more like that metalcore guitar style. Fast, steady, very melodic. Paired with kind of old school classic hardcore punk at times. Now, the vocalist leaned into that more harsh scream thing, but then he had that more classic hardcore punk thing that's kind of in between singing and screaming. That's where I struggle to really get on board a lot with those vocalists because I guess I'm just really picky about it. I like really clean singing and I like really harsh vocals. And the middle is where you get the character of the person's actual voice mixed with however much they want to dial in the intensity. So that's kind of the new vocal style I'm not super accustomed to hearing, but I like it. I think he's a fantastic vocalist. And I'm just really fascinated with the use of like a Fender P-bass in this type of mix. It kind of is this whole other gritty, smooth at the same time thing. And holy shit, drummer Ben Kohler, fucking phenomenal drummer. I love how the song started around basically a drum. I don't want to say drum solo. People throw that term around. Just like a drum feature. But you didn't really know it was a drum feature until it was brought back, reprised slightly differently with more toms, maybe the hi-hat. I feel like in the audiotree version, the intro and that bridge reprise of the drum part were a bit more similar, but on the studio version, it was really different, but thematically tied together. So Converge, really cool band. Again, there's so many things about this that sound like other bands I already listened to. I just missed the mark on them. I would love to come back to them. Bass player has a ferocious touch, great tone, great presence, great, really fun to watch and play. I'd love to come back and do more. But thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to support the channel further, come find us over on Patreon. I do full albums just like this every single month. We vote on them. It's a blast. I also have bass lessons, music theory lessons, and just tons of other resources for music fans or bass players, and a great community to boot. Come hang out with us. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do that now. Like the video as well. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.